The debates and decisions that are shaping our continent now in Europeans.
Ninweta Aziz Emmanuel is from Iraq. The 25-year-old computer engineering student and her younger brother Elia fled their home city of Mosul just over a year ago. They paid smugglers to join their older brother in Sweden. Young, bright and educated, they saw no future in a country torn apart 4 years after the US-led invasion. Although the trip to Sweden was difficult, they said it was better than staying in a country where they were increasingly targeted because of their religion. They are Christians.
I was in university. I studied 5 years. In the last 2 years, it was so hard for me to go to college because of the bad situation outside, fearing from being kidnapped or being shot from a random weapon.
It's better to come here than any other country, because maybe if you spend all of the money to go maybe to another European country, and then you're not gonna get anything. Maybe they're gonna send you home again. I really would like to thank Sweden for everything, because it's the country that after my country didn't give me the safe life. So Sweden is the country that secured me.
In 2006 alone, Sweden granted asylum to 9,000 Iraqi refugees, or 40% of the 22,000 Iraqis who were granted asylum in all of the EU. But having provided a home for now some 100,000 Iraqis, Sweden is warning that it's reached a point of saturation. And some cities such as Södertälje, which is on the outskirts of Stockholm, would like to pull in the welcome mat, at least a little. Elia and Ninweta live in Rona, which is a neighborhood in Södertälje. It's been nicknamed Little Iraq. It's estimated that 40% of the inhabitants are foreign-born. Last year alone, the city took in twice the amount of refugees than the entire United States. Mayor Anders Lago is worried. He would like to see some immigrants go to other cities where there's more room and jobs.
Last year we have about 1,200 refugees to Södertälje, and Södertälje is a small town. We have about 80,000 inhabitants, so it's a big problem with flats, with the school. It's not easy to find work for the refugees here.
This place, Södertälje, it can take more than the people that lives here. That's something over its capacity. So the government, they're trying their best to do something about this. So they're gonna try to separate the immigrants and put them in different places of the country. But it's hard for someone to accept to go out of Stockholm, you know.
It's that feeling of community and family which has drawn so many Iraqis to Södertälje. It's been a magnet for Christian refugees since the late 1960s, when Assyrian immigrants from Lebanon, Syria and Turkey moved here. Today they have their own television station, and although they have no homeland, here they have 2 national football teams and churches of their denomination. Martin Rory helped create the station in 2004. He and his colleagues also helped many refugees adapt to their new homeland. Martin has lived in Sweden for 32 years, but he says integration is not always easy.
Sweden is, of course, to be credited for giving my people from Iraq better conditions of living, giving them security and all that. This must be known, you know. Sweden is a terrific country in that way, taking more responsibility than other countries. Even small Södertälje has taken, I think, more than total countries, for instance, the United States. But the integration must be on the terms of both sides. You can take somebody to your backyard, but you have to take them into your house as well. And when you just bring in somebody to your yard, that's not enough. You have to bring him into your home as well.
But bringing refugees into their home is an expensive task for this country of 9 million people. Sweden provides refugees with housing, a monthly allowance of about 300 euros, and schooling upon their arrival. But what is more worrying for a growing number of Swedes is an asylum policy seen as too lax. Stockholm grants asylum to over 90% of all Iraqi requests. But because many refugees arrive on either fake passports or even without documents, it's difficult to assess their background. Merit Fager is a legal counselor for refugees. She warns that Sweden needs to get tougher so those really in need are helped.
We need more time than 14 days or 1 or 2 months to check the stories of those who are coming here and really to apply the law, which says that every case has to be reviewed individually and carefully, because as it is now, we have no idea who are here. Terrorists, murderers, mixed with people who have really a strong reason to get asylum here. We don't know.
But Sweden's centre-right government begs to differ. It says that yes, theirs is a generous asylum policy, but it's not without its checks and balances. For the country's migration minister, the real culprit is an unclear message sent by most EU members when it comes to accepting or rejecting refugees.
We do not just let everybody in who comes and knock on our doors. We do perform a scrutinizing procedure. We do have a system of independent courts and independent authorities. But saying this, I think that we also have to bring forward one of the most important lessons to learn from the Iraqi refugee crisis, and that is the call for a harmonized European asylum system, common asylum system for the whole of Europe. Because what we have seen now is that an individual country can be very hard targeted unless we create a system where every country have the same rules, they use the same rules in the same way, where you actually have a regime which is not a lottery. And this is a problem with the present system.
Would you like him to come? Yeah. Surely. Oh, of course. Yeah. Akhil Shanta is a dentist who left Baghdad 2.5 years ago when the death threats became too numerous for this Shiite Muslim. Here he visits his cousin Ebtisam. She came to Sweden 12 years ago with her 3 brothers and sister. They're all teachers, doctors and engineers, and symbolic of Iraq's growing brain drain. Akhil says he would like to rebuild his country, but how and when?
Ever since the fall of Saddam, my dearest wish has been to return to Iraq. I miss it terribly. And my friends and relations. It is such a loss. The hardest to bear is the way things are now, what is happening in Iraq. Under these conditions I cannot go back. The question is, how long will I stay abroad?
The Iraqi exodus is the biggest refugee crisis in the Middle East since 1948. And with or without a common EU asylum policy, it's expected that many more will seek a warm haven in the Scandinavian country.